So, ideally, I wanted to cover AEW. But again, it didn't come on until 11. It's now 11:13, so I could probably end this pretty soon and go watch it. And I'm super excited for that. But because it's not happening, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about something else we're going to be covering on the show. Something I want to pay more attention to, because I think for years it's deserved it, and I've never kind of bought into it. I've paid for it. I am part of New Japan World, right? Like, I subscribe to the service. I have all of that stuff. I just haven't been watching it much. I know that Shingo, I think, is a champion. I know that Okada, I think, won the G1 tournament, which means he has the opportunity at the biggest show of the year to go after the title. And then I think that something's happening with Will Ospreay. And I don't know much about New Japan, but I do want to cover it. So I will be watching that starting this week. And I'm excited because you guys know, if you follow T-Mode, how big of a fan I am of Naito, how big of a fan I am of Minoru Suzuki. I just like these characters, some of the ones that they have, and I fell off of it for the past year, but I want to get back into it. So we're going to get back into it, but I do hear that the last year of New Japan has been less than ideal. Like, I think Evil won the championship a year ago, joined Bullet Club, and then it kind of went off the rails. That's what I hear happened over there in New Japan. And now they're kind of trying to get it back on track. So I kind of want to be on with that, because that just makes the most sense. I want to be in with New Japan as it gets more relevant here in the States. We've seen amazing things from Minoru Suzuki on his stateside trip. What was it? Blue Justice? Kojima? He was here too. And there's one that I'm forgetting, and I forget his name. But he's basically like the John Cena. He's the ace, the John Cena of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was also on AEW, at least in a promo form. I think he actually had a match too against Lance Archer. I digress. I just want to work a little bit more with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I want to bring that in so that people who happen to only watch WWE, again, I want to bring these people together. I want to say, look, I know that you love the 24/7 title, and I know that you love watching that dude come in, pretend to be French, flip around, love wine but not love wine, be friends with Sasha, be friends with Nia, weird shit, blah blah blah, random WWE stuff. I know that that's fun, and it is fun, but it's also really a waste of time. It's just, it just shouldn't, it's not up to snuff. It's just not, okay? It can be better. And so, to all those people who love all those things, I'm saying, your time is better invested in some of the funnier things happening in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It just is. Just is. So I want to bring that to the table. I want to bring AEW to the table. I want to bring WWE to the table and be like, okay, there's a lot of good things here. Let's keep them. There's a lot of bad things here. Throw them out. Get rid of them. We don't need them. And that's kind of what I want to do. So New Japan will be joining the ranks of something that we cover here on the Profit Report. And again, this is mostly wrestling with a little bit of random things dipped in. Just kind of keep it, on its toes, right? We'll let the conversation go where we want it to go. Happy little trees, right? So, AEW's coming in. New Japan's coming in. SmackDown is in. NXT is in. Raw is in. Is there anything I'm excluding? I'm not talking about Ring of Honor. CZW. GCW. WWF. I'm not talking about any of those things. I'm talking about what's happening now in the main three. AEW, WWE, New Japan. Those main three are what we're going to be covering for the time being. And with that, let's get to SmackDown. Roman Reigns opens the season premiere of SmackDown. We are in Wichita, Kansas, which I was very confused. Okay, so were they on a round trip flight? Like, were they immediately leaving to get here as soon as possible? Were some people's flights delayed? I don't know what happened here, but this first segment we're going to talk about ended up like taking up 43 minutes of a 2-hour show with commercials. So if you take the commercials out, it took more than a quarter of the show just to do all of this stuff. insane to me that they decided to go this route, but whatever. Now, if we were doing weekly fantasy and you decided to pick Roman Reigns, good for you, because he sat in the ring and talked for a long time. And TV time to us, when we do weekly fantasy, when we cover it next week, is going to be time that they are not in a match, because we'll count that separately, but time that they are on the screen, actively involved. If Ali is in the background, in the background. So tonight on SmackDown, there's a shot where two people are talking and there's a bunch of people in the background. If somebody runs in, that will count because they're doing something. But if they're in the background, just kind of hanging out, that does not count. I'm not counting that. I don't have time to count that, right? And then like people will start drafting Michael Cole and shit. It's like no. I'm not taking it that serious. I mean active minutes, right? So to give you some perspective, we're going to go through this review and kind of tell you, okay, this is probably about how much time he would have been, and these are going to be points, right, that we're going to add up, all right? So, and I want to regulate this, so the point structure will change a little bit, and we'll talk about the point structure later, but I'll go through this, and we'll kind of go through the review in the lens of, if we were doing weekly fantasy, what would these people have scored? Who would have been the top scorer, okay? So we're going to kind of do that as we go through this. Paul Heyman's loyalty continues to be in question. I really like this storyline. It was fascinating. I think that them continuing it is a good idea instead of having Paul choose one side or the other. He's stuck between his friend and his business partner, who he's deathly afraid of. So that's compelling. I like that. What is he going to do? Is he going to go with fear and bend the knee to the tribal chief and the head of the table and the suplexorcist? Or is he going to go with his friend, take the noble route, take a beating, but be with who he should be with, which is Brock Lesnar? It's very, very interesting to me. Roman Reigns really wants to smash. Oh, this actually reminds me of my constant use of the word pegged. When I'm playing Halo and I get a lot of headshots, I'll go, pegged him, pegged him, pegged him. It's just one of the things that I really like to say and do. And Roman Reigns was like, I smashed him. And I couldn't help but be reminded of Jersey Shore, of like The Situation, whatever his name is, The Situation. And he's just like, man, we smashed. Go in the smash room, we're smashing. And it got weird for a minute in my head. I was sitting here imagining Roman Reigns looking at Paul Heyman going, I'm smash you, Paul. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, holy shit, Roman Reigns is really doing some crazy shit right now. He got really mad that no, he didn't get mad. He was actually pretty funny. Roman Reigns is getting better on a mic, and I don't know if it's just because he's with Paul Heyman, that he is the top champion. Maybe if you took the title away from him, would he change? Does he have that weird opposite effect of Dean Ambrose? Old Dean Ambrose, not John Moxley, but old Dean Ambrose, when he got the title and then he just, boom, lost all, like, character. It was very strange. But when he has the title, he's just so good. Lesnar's tweeting, I'm going to beat up Roman Reigns when I get to SmackDown tonight. And Roman Reigns is like, look, I beat him up so bad last night. Smashed him. Now he's tweeting, which is a little bit of a small dig at Twitter and all the people who've been giving Roman Reigns grief this past week over his comments about AEW and a few of those superstars. Ruby Rose, I think. Lots of good things. So, oh boy. Roman Reigns is the top guy. He's the top guy in WWE. No doubt about it. I would love to see Roman Reigns versus Kenny Omega. I think that'd be really cool. In 1 year's time, what is the odds? What are the odds of Survivor Series AEW invades WWE? What do you think? I think they're getting higher and higher. I think the odds of that happening are pretty high in terms of like realistic. Like high to me is like 13%, but that's way high compared to like the 0% or the 1%. So like to me, I think it's up to about 13%, and that's exciting to me. I want to see Kenny Omega and the Elite take on the Bloodline. That would be really fun, and that's why we have T-Mode, plug for T-Mode. Go to my YouTube and watch all that stuff, because we have all of those characters in T-Mode. They're all a part of the show, and if they decide to come up against each other when we go up with Survivor Series soon, that would be very fun and interesting. But I don't control it. I don't book it. WWE does what it does, and 2K does what it does as well. It's just interesting to me. Roman Reigns is the top guy. He's really good, and he's over. He says something, the women in the crowd are screaming. They love him. They love him. Even some of the guys are showing, yeah, which is great, which means he's over. And even the kids are booing him. So it's weird. You hear cheers from the women and boos from the kids and most of the men at the same time. If you rewatch it tonight, he just did so well. This was a really good opening segment, but it was just really long. Lesnar smashes Reigns. Reigns takes a header with the steel steps. Jesus. Reigns takes a steel steps shot, and he actually hit his head. Or he made it look really, really good. I think he was actually like making sure he was okay after it, just because it looked pretty brutal, and they don't typically let them do that in WWE. Headshots are heavily not allowed. In that way, at least. The Usos come out. The Usos go down. A cameraman comes out. A cameraman goes down. The camera gets taken by Lesnar. The camera goes down. Referee goes down. An official goes down. Jobbers are going down. Everyone is trying to stop the brutality of the beast. Lesnar cannot be contained. Lesnar holds the title in the ring to end the segment, so I thought. And then Roman Reigns and the Bloodline retreated, and nobody could stop him. Now, usually in a Lesnar brouhaha, he gets pulled apart and he stops. Usually it's because, maybe this is subtle, maybe this is Paul Heyman's doing. Usually it's Paul Heyman that goes, Brock, wait, Brock, settle down. He didn't have Paul Heyman this time. So he just starts beating everybody up. He's beating everybody up. And there's one negative thing about this that I was like, it's kind of annoying. I like it, but it's kind of annoying. And it's Pat McAfee on commentary. A lot of people don't like him being on commentary. A lot of people can't stand him. For the most part, I'm okay with him being there. He's a character, right? At this point, he's a character on the show, much like King was a character to Jim Ross's kind of like based commentary, right? So at this point, I like Pat McAfee. But in this segment, it was just too much. Like, there were times when I was like watching the action, he would say something, and I was like, shut the fuck up. But then again, that's kind of his job as the heel commentator. So I don't really know where I stand, but I was a little annoyed rather than entertained by his heelness, and I usually like the heels. So I don't know, maybe that's just me, but Pat McAfee kind of brought some of this down tonight. And I didn't know it anywhere. It's just something in my head that I thought, I was like, why would he say that? Why is he saying that? Anyway, so it's insane. It's crazy, right? And a really good segment. But eventually the segment takes up over a quarter of the show. And that's wild to me. And I'm thinking, again, I can't help but do this, right? I mean, humans just can't help but compare. You compare that to AEW and how they would have handled this. And yeah, it would have been a lot. There would have been many people in the ring, maybe even Daniel Bryan come down and beating the hell out of everybody. But they wouldn't have taken up so much of the show. And I don't know why they didn't do this. It seems like maybe they just didn't have a full roster there. I don't know what was going on. But they took out a lot of this. We go to commercial. Actually, there was already a commercial. Roman Reigns' entrance takes like 3 minutes. It's super crazy. It's insane. So that took a lot of time. Then he says something. Then he intimidates Paul Heyman. And then they have to go to commercial break. And then they come back. And he's still talking shit. And then Brock comes out. And then Brock Lesnar holds up the title. He's won the day. And then they go to commercial again. They come back. Now the ring is cleared. Adam Pearce is in the middle of the ring. Adam Pearce gets the mic. And Adam Pearce says, I'm going to be mean to Brock Lesnar. I'm going to suspend Brock Lesnar. I'm sitting here like, we're still doing the segment? Like, what time is it? Are we going to have wrestling? Is Hit Row going to be here? Where is Hit Row? Where is Hit Row? That's what I was thinking during the Adam Pearce spot. And then Lesnar comes out and beats the shit out of Adam Pearce too. It was amazing. However, again, I'm here for a new season of a show, and you have spent a lot of that time not introducing people to the feuds. Instead, you've done a lot of Crown Jewel recap instead of building what you want to build towards Survivor Series. And I don't know why. Again, WWE, I just don't understand why you're spending so much time on this. You've done what you've done. It felt like a director's cut of a segment in WWE. It's like, this could have been cut. You could have cut this part. You could have cut this part. This was cool, but cut it. Get rid of it. Slim it down so that we have more time later on for some good stuff. We'll see how it goes. At some point, I saw Cesaro out with the jobbers, and he didn't get beat up. And this was good because I think Lesnar's a face. And all the jobbers who come out mostly are faces. And their job is to stop Lesnar. And I saw Cesaro there. And Lesnar stops beating people up when he comes up against Cesaro. If I'm writing it, okay, I'd love to see a Swiss Superman save the day. All right? Because we got Roman Reigns, who's doing some crazy heel shit. We have Lesnar, who says he's a face and is kind of being the good guy in the situation, but coming out and doing some heel shit. It's hard as a general viewer to cheer for somebody when they're doing that. Like, it's just difficult, right? Take Halloween Kills, for instance. To me, the protagonist of that movie was Michael Myers. In Infinity War, to me, the protagonist of that film was Thanos. But in the general audience's perspective, there is no hero to cheer. There's no hero to cheer. Lesnar's out here, he's doing some crazy stuff. Even the Hulk doesn't, like, smash innocent people. Like, Lesnar's out here doing this. So to me, they're both heels. They're both, like, heels, which is a big problem. But whatever. WWE doesn't really much care about heels and faces anymore, so John Cena would have you believe. But again, it's like, man, you have Cesaro right there. He could come down. He could say, Brock, I need you to calm down. Brock can, like, brush up against him. They could have, like, a stare down, and you could build something good. And you could still have Lesnar go for Reigns, but then have the Swiss Superman come in later and build him as well. You can add him into the mix without putting him in the story, and you could do it subtly, but WWE doesn't do that. And I don't think anything's coming out of Cesaro. I think Cesaro is done. I think he's just pretty much low card, nothing. He might get a feud against Baron Corbin, but we've seen that, and I don't want to see that again. I'm pretty sure that we've seen that. It's hard to tell with WWE because they repeat so many things so many times, but I'd love to see Swiss Superman come in and be involved and elevate, but SmackDown, they just didn't do it. We go backstage. We got Naomi and Sonia Deville backstage talking. Now again, when we're talking about weekly fantasy, we're talking about screen time. If I was counting, Roman Reigns probably got about 20 points for his time. Lesnar probably got about 10. The Usos probably got about 3, maybe, because they were all involved actively, right? I wouldn't give screen time to Cesaro or the Jobbers because they're doing stuff short, but they're out there as mindless drones. Anybody could have filled that spot, right? If he was name-checked, like, oh, Cesaro's standing up to Lesnar, then it would be something. But because WWE's not going to do anything, I'm not going to count that because that's just too time-inducive. I'm not going to count 1 minute every week for Hurricane Helms, the WWE official coming out, right? I'm not going to do that. So in that first segment, Roman Reigns would be getting probably the most points. In this segment here with Naomi and Sonya Deville would be getting some points. And she's draftable because she does wrestle. So this is pretty good for her. Naomi would be draftable if you wanted to do a Naomi draft pick. So just keep that in mind when you're watching these shows as we start to build weekly fantasy, because eventually I do want that to be a reality, and I think it's a viable reality. Adam Pearce got F5'd twice, by the way, so he should be dead. So we'll see how that happens, how that works out. Naomi and Sonya Deville are still feuding, kinda, I guess. Nothing really happens. Like, I feel like the last time I watched Sonya Deville anything, she came out and then she had Shayna Baszler help her beat up Naomi. And then, like, Naomi is just in the backstage and not doing anything about it. And she's just like, but you're the boss, so I can't do anything. And then just leaves. It's like, nobody wants to see that. That sucks. Let Naomi join the bloodline. Let's just let SmackDown be the New Japan version of WWE, where you've got Hit Row and people are joining the Hit Row, and then you've got the Bloodline and people are joining the Bloodline or the Table, whatever faction you want to call that, and then people are joining the New Day and whatever faction they want to do. Just do a big type of thing like that, and then just run it like New Japan, and I would love to see that. That'd be interesting. I don't think WWE's going to do that, and I think they'll just continue to do what they've always done, but you can use these people so much better. Naomi is one of those that is just not getting used correctly. Drew gonna have an open challenge. I like this. I like Drew coming in saying, you know what, I'll take anyone from SmackDown who wants a piece. You've been missing out on Raw, except for Baron Corbin, because you happen to jump brands quite often for no reason. So, what is it, Forbidden Door? Yeah, that's the real Forbidden Door, is the brand split. that is open all the time for Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin, carte blanche, he can do whatever he wants on any brand, anytime. So Drew's going to have an open challenge. Now, I wrote, if they were smart, this is where they would bring out King Xavier for his first battle. He is coming off, he being Drew McIntyre, coming off a loss to Big E, where he respected Big E. Xavier should come out and be like, look, I want to deal with this, right? I think even maybe Drew had an issue with Kofi trying to get in line for Bobby Lashley's title. I even think that was a thing. So, like, all the groundwork for the storyline is there. You just have to do the story, right? So I would have loved to have seen a small feud between Drew McIntyre and Xavier Woods to legitimize Xavier Woods. You've put a lot into him by having him beat Finn Balor. He beat Finn Balor straight up, one-on-one, no interferences, nothing. He just beat him for the King of the Ring tournament, right? He's the king. Bring him out now. Let's get Xavier versus Drew McIntyre, where Xavier is slowly turning heel, and Kofi has to like, no, hey, oh, heavy is the head. I get it. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I understand. But we can't do that. We're the New Day. We're positivity. And then slowly either Kofi fails to rein in Xavier Woods' vanity, or Xavier Woods takes positivity and makes it toxic positivity, where he goes, yeah, we'll be positive. I'm going to positively whoop his ass. You know what I mean? Like, that type of stuff. That would have been a really interesting story that you could do between two faces who have nothing to do and they're not going to go for a title anytime soon, Drew and Xavier Woods. That would have been really, really good. That's something that I would have wrote. But that's not what they intend to do. That's not what they did. And instead, we get Sami Zayn. New music for Sami Zayn, but he's got the same old character, same old music, same old character, same old gimmick, everything. But he does have slightly different music, and it's not nearly as catchy now. It's just more dum 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 dum. It's whatever. And I went, is he gonna job? And the match was whatever. I skipped through it. I was like, I know he's not winning this match. Whatever. Does 3-2-1 instead of 1-2-3 or whatever. Whatever Drew McIntyre's thing is. And he gets Claymored. So he looked ridiculous, and I don't know if Sami's okay with that. If he's okay with it, I guess it works, but it's just sad. Sami Zayn is another wasted talent in WWE. It's just sad to me. Kevin Owens, his friend, is also wasted. Story is best superstar in SmackDown. Oh, yeah. So they kept saying, I'm the best superstar in SmackDown. I'm going to beat the best superstar in SmackDown. Like, it's like, I don't care. I don't care. This is not a riveting story. It's like when you played GM mode in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, and it was like, here's a storyline. It's very basic, and it's only going to excite the fans 3 out of 5 stars. And you're like, yeah, that's what this is. This is a 3 out of 5 stars. It's just whatever. It's decent, but it's... And again, I'm just sitting here like, where's Hit Row? When do we get Hit Row? And at this point, I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, oh my god, they're not even going to have Hit Row. They're just going to say Hit Row coming to SmackDown. And I'm going to be so upset and sad. At this point, it wasn't looking good for SmackDown. I was a little bit upset. Hit Row promo, and I was excited because I liked it. And I was like, yes, this is great. But I was nervous because I was like, oh, but this is it, though. They're not going to do anything with this. They're not even going to wrestle. They're just going to have like a promo where they talk, and maybe they talk with someone random. Like some jobbers or something like that, and I was super sad. But they actually did a pretty good job with the promo. They said they are debuting tonight, not just Swerve, Hit Row debuting, which tells me, okay, cool. So they're not going to just focus on Swerve. They're going to focus on the group Hit Row, and not Nada. Whoo, boy, top dollar. He, I think, might be the standout of the group. This dude not only can talk the talk, but he is rather decent in the ring. We see that tonight. But first we have a King Xavier crowning. This should be great. That's what I wrote. I wrote before watching the segment. I said, this should be great. First feud's got to be Apollo and that big guy, right? Makes sense to me. You've got 2 people versus 2 people. You have Apollo Crews, who is like the king of whatever country. I forget what it is. I think it's Nigeria. I think it's one of them. And he comes in, right? And he's been his character for a while. And once he lost the title, he left. Either bring him in or bring somebody in to legitimize King Xavier. Figure it out. Do it. They didn't. Do you know what they do instead? Kofi comes out, does his New Day thing, Xavier Woods comes out, does his New Day thing. He gets the crown. They do more New Day things. He gets the scepter. They do more New Day things. He gets the cloak. New Day things. And then they do a proclamation. New Day things. And then it's over. And I was like, they did nothing. Absolutely nothing with Xavier Woods winning King of the Ring. As if it didn't matter. As if it didn't matter. But they could have done something, and I already talked about that. But it just made me sad. And I was like, I really, really like the New Day. I'll watch them be positive until the cows come home. But you could do something more. You could do better. I'm happy with what you're doing. But you could do better. And that's what I felt about that segment. So it's really sad. Really, really sad. Becky in the back, she shoots a promo, and this was interesting because tonight they tease the title swap for the women's titles of both Raw and SmackDown. Becky retained the title. She's moving to Raw, but she holds the SmackDown title. Charlotte is still the Raw Women's Champion, but she's moving to SmackDown. So tonight, the gimmick is, okay, well, we have to exchange the titles. They have done this in the past before. I think they did it with the tag team titles, and with Montez Ford, and so Street Profits and New Day switched, right? I know they've done that before. I can't think of any off the top of my head others, but they've done title switches before. But they make this a whole segment, which I thought was really good. I really liked it, and what they did with it was really fantastic as well. So Becky does this promo, and I figured, oh, okay, so this segment is going to be short. It's going to be backstage. They're just going to switch. They're going to look at each other angrily and say, see you at Survivor Series. I'll see you at Survivor Series, whatever, right? Whatever shit talk they do, and that'll be it. No, they did a whole main event thing, which I was very impressed with and I was happy about. But again, it was like, I mean, you could have done something better, but whatever. So she cuts this promo where she goes, oh, I was gonna just give the belt up, but then I thought, I kind of want to be Becky Two Belts again. And I loved it. Yo, Becky Lynch being Becky Two Belts again. I love her, that she's being true to her character. And I don't know who's writing that specific division of Charlotte and Becky, but they're good. They're good. I know a lot of people don't like Charlotte, but she is good at what she does, which is making people dislike her. We'll talk about that later. But this tease of, well, maybe I'll be Becky Two Belt tonight, was like, oh, that's going to keep me watching. That keeps my interest. Good job. Good job. Yeah, and I wrote she might want to be Becky Two Belt again, but I don't see it happening. They're not gonna put two belts on one show again like they did with Becky earlier. No, they have so many women that can do their thing. Mansoor versus Ali. As soon as Mansoor came out, I was like, oh, fuck, no Hit Row, or rather Hit Row, but like this is a match that we don't need to see this match again. We don't need to see this match again. I don't know what the thinking of putting this match again for any reason other than continuing the feud, and I just don't know why they would do that. Mansoor gets a win. Ali gets a loss. Now, what are they going to do now? Chase after the 24/7 title? I don't understand. Like, what was the whole point? What are they going to do? I don't know. I don't think they're going to do anything. Maybe Mansoor will go against Happy Corbin. But if that's what we have to look forward to, it's going to make me sad. Because I like Mansoor. I like Ali. I like their matches. But, like, come on. We don't need... This is ridiculous. So, whatever. Again, whatever. Mansoor wins. Just this crown jewel copy-paste thing. Whatever. Ridge Holland, Aaliyah, Humberto and Garza are friends now. So, let's start with Ridge Holland. I've seen him in NXT a couple of times. He reminds me of Finlay. Fit Finlay 2. So I'm like, okay, cool. Fit Finlay 2, but the English version. Great. Ridge Holland, okay. He does need a little bit more development, but let's bring him up. Let's see what he can do. He still feels very side character to me, underboss. I don't know what they're going to do with Ridge Holland. Aaliyah, I think it's Aaliyah. Aaliyah, I don't know anything about her. Again, NXT, when I did watch, there would be things that I liked and things that I tuned out and was on Twitter about. So she must have been a part of that because I don't know who she is. Humberto and Garza. I remember them from COVID era of WWE hating each other and Garza being like some playboy, and now they're just generic tag team. I mean, good for Humberto. He might get a tag title out of it, but Garza had a character. He had a character. He had a look. He had everything. He had this thing with Naya. He had this thing with like random celebrities they would bring on Raw, and now he's nothing. He had a rose, everything. I don't know where they developed a friendship, maybe 205 Live, but it's like they're friends now. Okay, well, they're cousins, so I guess whatever, but it's sad to me. They're never gonna be anything, and that's just super, super sad. I like both of them. Sheamus is here too, great, and Sheamus did his thing. Okay, cool, whatever. Hit Row debut. Alright, we're getting to the meat of it now. This is the main event. I like Hit Row. I like Hit Row. I like how annoying they are. I like how they come in there like, Hit Row. I like how overly obnoxious they are. They remind me of my students. Overly obnoxious, punks, snot-nosed, think they know everything, over braggadocious. I love it, though. I love it. And Top Dollar can back it up with his rhymes. So I really, really like that. They didn't need to keep the music playing during the promo. They did a promo, they came out, everybody had their lines, which is what Hit Row typically does, where they all kind of sing or rap word. It's not really rapping because there's no music or melody happening, like there's no rhythm, so it's really like spoken word, but it's rap, whatever. It's Vince, I love rap, like whatever. He doesn't know the nuances, but they kept the music playing in the background, so it's like, I'm Top Dollar, and who's Top Dollar? Top Dollar. Nah. So like he's doing his thing, but in the background it's like do, like they're playing the music, and I'm like, can the crowd even hear what they're saying? Like, and it feels like they're rushed too. This is another thing. That whole promo they have to do on the way down to the ring as they're like getting ready to wrestle is like, could we have taken out the Mansoor Ali match, or could we have lowered the Roman Reigns segment down 2 segments from the 5 segments that it seemingly had, to give them some time to actively say who they are and do this correctly? But no, it felt so rushed. It felt like, get out there, go, hurry, say your thing. And once you hit the ring, stop talking, because then we have to go to commercial, and then we have to come back, and all this stuff. And it just felt really sad. But at least, I will give them credit, at least they gave them a match. I didn't expect Hit Row to have a match. I expected them to have like a backstage segment. So they have a match. It's Top Dollar and Swerve taking on local talent. And I was entertained the whole time. I loved this match. Top Dollar is my favorite of the group. I like Swerve too. I like B-Fab too. I think Adonis is the other guy's name. And he's sitting there brushing his like eyebrows with a toothbrush. So like everything's working for me with Hit Row. I love Hit Row. I'm a big fan. I'm a mark for Hit Row. I'm gonna be hit rowing till the cows come home. It's gonna be great. I loved it. I what's not to like? What's not to like? Let's fantasy book. When I'm excited about somebody, I fantasy book for them. I was excited about Xavier Woods. I fantasy booked for him. I was excited about Naomi possibly joining Bloodline. I fantasy booked for her. Let's fantasy book for what I think Hit Row should do based on what's going on. The Bloodline, the Usos, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, they need some protection, right? And this works perfectly for Vince McMahon because he thinks like rappers are criminals or whatever. So, I mean, just go back, look at R-Truth and John Cena. Like, whenever they do a rapping character, it's always like a caricature of like JTG. Like, their name was literally Crime Time. So they've done this in the past. Do it again. Who cares? Vince McMahon is bulletproof. Whatever. Do your thing, Vince. Have the Bloodline pay Hit Row, pay Top Dollar for Hit Row to be like the line of defense from Brock Lesnar. I think that'd be really cool, interesting, and I would love it. And then you have Naomi come in and join the Bloodline, and then the two factions start like disagreeing, or the Bloodline always escapes and Hit Row always gets beat up. So Hit Row like looks at the Bloodline like, well, what the fuck's going on here? This is bullshit. And then they start feuding. Now this doesn't have to go quick to Survivor Series, but it works perfect for Survivor Series. But it could be like a perfect way to get the title off of Roman Reigns and have him in a feud that could put somebody big over. Now, I'm thinking that the only person believable in that group is, unfortunately, Top Dollar. But if it's Swerve, it's Swerve. It's not going to be Adonis, whatever the other dude's name is, toothbrush eyebrow guy. But that is what I'm envisioning. And I know WWE's not going to do it because that takes willpower, trying, effort, and they just won't do that. But that's kind of what I want to see for them. I'm excited for all 4 of them. I'm excited for B-Fab. I want to see her get in the mix. I don't think she's the best wrestler. I think I've seen her wrestle a couple times, and I wasn't super impressed, but I think she has promise, so we'll see. Sonia takes over as top official because Adam Pearce is dead, which is good because I said no to F5s to WWE official Adam Pearce. Should kill him. Like, he should be done. Like, he should not be on the episode anymore. So I'm glad that he wasn't, like, in the back, like, all hurt and just pretending and selling. I'm glad that they didn't even show him. But it made me think, oh, is this the end of Adam Pearce? Is he done? Are they going to try to split the brands completely and have him just take over Raw? Like, what's going to happen with Adam Pearce? I'm very interested. Are they writing him out? I don't know. So Adam Pearce was an interesting thing of note tonight. Nakamura with Boogs, and Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss. So the Intercontinental title. This wasn't, like, pimped at all throughout the night. I don't remember it being pimped at all. And I was very, very sad because I didn't care at all. I skipped the entire match, and the only thing of note here is that Toxic Happiness is another surface level story, but it has potential. I think it just has more potential with the New Day than it does with Happy Corbin. This whole gimmick just comes off as he's pretending, he's faking. Like, and you can do that if it's nuanced, but it comes off as, I don't know, they told me to be Happy Corbin, so I'm out there pretending to be Happy Corbin, and now I have Madcap Moss who's told to be funny, and so he's like, he and one of the writers came up with this really stupid joke, and it's supposed to be stupid, but they just don't sell it very well, and this is a really, really sad state of affairs. I like Baron Corbin. I like Nakamura. I even like Boog. I don't know much about Moss, but it just made me sad. And then Corbin is your new IC champ. All right, whatever. I guess it's just for something Mansoor to go after. What are we going to do with Sheamus? Sheamus versus Nakamura now? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking of, like, all of the least effort things that SmackDown can do, and I see them all as the most likely thing. Raw promo. And then title exchange upcoming. So Raw promo didn't really show much. They kept it really close to the vest about what was going to happen. Big E is going to be there. He's going to do some stuff. You'll probably see Zelina Vega be Queen of the Ring, crowned or some thing. We'll see what they do. I'm curious. Do we want to? Oh God, I'm starting to get upset. Do we want to talk that Doudrop is going to have another match with Zelina Vega? Is it going to be another rematch? Another rematch from WWE? Oof, that's a good bet. I'll bet it. I'm going to bet it right now. I don't know what I'm betting, but I'm betting. I'm betting all the monies, all the points. It'll be Zelina Vega versus Doudrop rematch from Crown Jewel, because they have to do a rematch. I don't know why, but whatever. Okay, title exchange. Wasn't Sonia being controlled by Charlotte a few months back? Yes, there's a point in this where she brings out Becky, she brings out Charlotte. I think Charlotte actually had a talking segment in the back too, where she talked about Becky Lynch, and she's like, "What? You can say whatever you want, Becky, but for half your career, you were carrying my bags, and you handed them over to me, so why don't you just do the same thing with the title tonight?" It was perfect. I was like, okay, this is like trash talk from both that is really, really good, and now I want to see that match. So unfortunately, everything that's about to happen in this segment, I don't really care about, because it seems that WWE is booking towards Charlotte versus Becky Survivor Series. That's what it seems like to me. So we'll see. We'll figure out if that's the case. I don't see Sasha taking the title off of Charlotte. I don't know who else could possibly do it. Becky on Raw, maybe she could have a cool feud with Doudrop. Actually, that is a match I do want to see. Shayna Baszler, I don't know where she ended up, but I want to see Shayna Baszler get some more. It's crazy stuff. But let's talk about this first. I was confused because Sonya Deville at one point was like being controlled by Charlotte. Like, Charlotte would like look at Sonya, and then Sonya would be like, "We're gonna do this for Charlotte," and then people would be like, "Whoa, that's not fair." So like, I'm really confused at why Sonya was like no longer cool with Charlotte, because she was like snapping at her, like, "Pick it up." Like, it was like, whoa, okay, that's kind of out of nowhere, but whatever. I haven't been watching for 2 months. Who knows? Neither want to give up their belt. Both are heels. Out comes Sasha, who I think is also a heel. Just turn hit row face. Turn hit row face. Go watch the match. Go watch the match. Not only did people not what the promo, which is a good sign if you're debuting on a big show, not only did that not happen, maybe that's why they kept the music up, but during the match, they operated like a good tag team, a good faction, and the moves were good. And when the match was over, like, I heard cheers. Like, people wanted, like Top Dollar held two people. He's like, "Who's better than Top Dollar?" not. And I heard people like saying it. Again, maybe I'm just crazy. And maybe it's not what I heard. But I thought I heard it. I'm just turn them face, get BFAB in there, so that we don't have to deal with like 3 heels trying to fight each other. Because 3 heels trying to fight each other just isn't all that interesting to me. Charlotte mocks. Oh, hold up. Bitch from Sasha. Spicy here from WWE. And I think I don't think she's going to get in trouble for this, because she's a pretty big star, but it's like, come on now. It's a little overused. She doesn't need to say that. Charlotte rightly mocks her about this, and Charlotte is my niece's favorite wrestler, by the way. She loves the queen, and it's just sad. Oh man, Sasha just comes out, you're a bitch, and then Charlotte goes, do you want to try better? Because I'm way better at talking than you are. And that's the sad thing about Sasha Banks, is that she's really, really good in the ring. She's not a very good character, and neither is her skills on the mic. Not nearly as good as the two in the ring, and it showed. I don't know why she was here, actually. Very, very weird. And then, like, Becky just goes, see ya, and then dips, and then it was, like, weird. It was such a weird thing when they were building all night to Becky versus Charlotte, and then they tease, let's just have a match right now. And then they don't, and here comes Sasha Banks, and then it's just a battle, and you're like, Again, like, it was good, but was it the best that they could have done? Was it even, like, to the 80th percentile best of what they could have done? I don't think so. I think they could have done much, much more with this segment, but I do appreciate them at least putting it in the main event spot, and pimping it all night long, and showing respect to the women of the WWE roster, because yeah, it worked, but it could have been better. More marking from Charlotte, and then brawl breaks loose. Sasha versus Charlotte is likely going to be what's happening over the next few weeks as they build up to Survivor Series. Very, very whatever, and that's your show. That's it. Just SmackDown, man. I just don't even know what to do anymore. I don't even know what to do. And I'm wondering if right now, like, this is a programming note that I'm talking about right now. Do I do 2 of these a week? One on Wednesday nights and one on Friday nights to cover everything that needs to be covered. I'd have to decide. So again, what I would do is stay tuned into Twitter to find out when we do these things. And again, feel free to chat. Like, if you're here, chat with me. I'd much rather this be a conversation than me telling you what happened on the show. But a lot of this is going to be me fantasy booking things, cutting it up and throwing it to YouTube and to TikTok and to Twitter to kind of build a community of people. Because I really love talking about entertainment and how it should work, and I really like wrestling, so I want to talk about the entertainment aspect of wrestling, and that's why we're reviewing these things. So feel free at any time to chat, to tweet at me, to get mad at me, to debate me, whatever you want to do. I'm just a big fan of talking, and this is one of the things I like to talk about. So SmackDown being SmackDown, I'm not going to score it or anything. I'm just going to say, was it worth my time? I really liked the main event. I really liked Hit Row. I really liked Roman Reigns versus Brock. Even as long as it was, I liked it. So overall, I think the SmackDown season debut was profitable. It could have been better. And they did a lot of missteps where they had opportunities to do amazing things, and they chose not to, and I'm not quite sure why, and that's just really disappointing. But that's WWE. That's what they